Hi, Samantha Tong, Labrakeeta Marketing again, here with another one of my videos with experts in marketing or related to marketing with a specific field. Check out all my other videos. I'm releasing one per month. And today I'm here with Julie Neilson, who is an expert in video. So she might be critiquing me as I go along.
Definitely wouldn't do that, Samantha.
So Julie, can you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, so I'm Julie from Julie Neilson Media, and I help people who want to use video in their business, whether it's to increase brand awareness, to reach more customers and clients, or to communicate better with their current customers and clients. There's a whole load of different ways you can use video, and it's something that I love helping people to use and to do.
Brilliant. So how did you get into video production?
Well, I actually joined BBC Television in London as a graduate secretary back in 1987, which, when I say it out loud, sounds a lot longer ago than it feels. I knew I wanted to work in media, but I didn't know exactly what. So I was advised to do a secretarial course when I finished uni. So that's what women were told to do at that time. So I did that, joined the BBC, and very quickly realised that I wanted to direct. So I basically worked my way up the ranks, but it was great because I worked with a lot of very talented, creative people who were top of their field, because at that time, especially, the BBC was, renowned worldwide for being experts in their field. So I got to work with some incredible people and learned a huge amount. And I worked with professional presenters, with celebrities, with members of the public, with animals and children even. They say don't do that, and I did both and I survived, so that was good. So I learned a lot about video making, and I also learned an awful lot about the marketing side of it, because we had to know about our target audience, we had to know about branding and all those sorts of things. So it's taught me a lot. And also, as I was working my way up, as I was, when I was production assistant and assistant producer, and I'd go out on shoots and I'd help the camera crew lug all their gear about and everything. And then the BBC decided to bring in what they called multi-skilling. So depending on what program I was working on, it might be a case of, here's your camera kit, here's your lighting kit, off you go.
Wow.
And do it all yourself. And then other programs I'd work on, I'd be out filming with two camera crews to direct, and the full work. So it just depended on the program. But it was great, and I learned a lot, which stands me in good stead now, obviously, for passing that on. And when I left the BBC to move back up to Scotland, I carried on doing some work for BBC Scotland, but I also started teaching video production at college here in Edinburgh. So it was great when I set up the business, because I had the video making skills, but also the teaching skills. So that all comes together quite nicely now.
Yeah, so I guess all that experience and all the, but not just the experience working for the BBC, but all that teaching experience helps you now teaching businesses to create their own videos.
Absolutely.
And doing videos for them, I guess, as well.
Yeah. I mean, initially I set up to make videos for small businesses, but I very quickly realized that as technology was moving on, there was no reason why people couldn't do it themselves. And I love teaching. And one of the programs I loved working on in the BBC was Video Diaries. I don't know if you'll remember that, might be before your time. But with Video Diaries and Video Nation, that was really the introduction of people doing selfies, because it was members of the public telling their story. And as a director, I would work with them to show them how to do it. And then to basically, I would gather in all the footage, I would give them some direction, but they would film most of it. And I would then edit it all together and produce it. So I'm used to working with members of the public with no experience whatsoever with video making. So that obviously helps too.
Yeah, and I imagine things have changed a lot during that time, where it's a lot easier now to create your own content than it was in the past.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, mobile phones weren't even a thing initially when I was at the BBC. I remember going on one shoot as a production assistant, and we were out on location. I was with the director and the producer. I think we were going ahead to do a recce, and I had the one production office mobile phone. And we went into a place, I think it was like a country pub for a pub lunch, and the producer had his own mobile phone. I mean, not many people had them then. And I thought, we heard a phone ringing, and it was like one of these horror movies, because the whole place just went silent and everybody turned and looked at us. And I was saying, "Oh, it's your phone." And he was like, "No, it's not, it's yours." So I had to get it out. So that's how far back we're talking. People weren't even using mobile phones. They didn't have cameras or anything then. But to see someone with a mobile phone at that time, that in itself was a bit different. So yeah, things have really moved on. The size of cameras, how easy it is to edit now and add effects. I mean, it's just amazing. I love it.
Brilliant. So, can you talk about some of the mistakes that people make when they're creating videos?
The biggest one I see, and it makes me cringe every time because I still see so many people doing it, is people not looking in the right place, because they'll be talking away as if they're having a conversation with their viewer, but they're actually looking at the screen and not at the camera. And it's fine if we're having a chat like this, it's fine if you're looking at the screen while you're listening, but if you're talking to people, you want to make that eye contact, because that is vital. That's one of the key things with video. If you're presenting something, you want to make that eye contact, because that's one of the things that raises it up above using written text or other means. It's a great way, if you can make eye contact with your audience, it helps create that bond where people can get to know, like, and trust you, which, everything in marketing comes back to, they want to know, like, and trust you.
Yep.
So I really, really makes me cringe totally when I see people not looking at the screen. And I can understand if they've maybe got notes off to the side or they've got notes on another screen, but what you can do in that case is be looking away to read your notes, but then come back to the lens to talk to people. And one thing I share with people that is a good way, if you don't, because some people just don't know where to look, which I can totally get. If you don't know where you should be looking, one tip, and you can do this with me, Samantha, and I have to look away from the screen to illustrate why you shouldn't look away from the screen. But if you look at your screen, if you get your finger and you put it to about a third of the way down from the top, because if you're looking at your screen, you'll see, so you want to be in the middle, but about a third of the way down.
Okay.
And then look to see where you're pointing.
Yeah.
And that's where your camera lens is, and that's where you should be looking.
Right. Okay.
And as I said, with something like this, if you're on a Zoom call or your networker or something, it's quite permissible not to be looking at your camera lens when you're listening. But if you're the one talking, you should be looking at the camera lens.
And it's really easy to forget that as you're in the middle of a conversation. I find I have to constantly try and remind myself, but I guess that comes with practice.
It does. And also I know some people maybe put a wee sticky around the camera lens with arrows saying, look here. I have seen people do that, but I generally find once you have sort of identified exactly where you should be looking, it's just then a case of practice to remember to do it so that it becomes automatic, really. So that would be the biggest mistake I think people make. The other one is a lot of people don't even start doing video because they think it has to be all about doing lives. And the number of people that I've spoken with, and they've said, oh, I don't do video, I can't stand the thought of doing a live. And it's like, you don't have to do a live. There are actually quite a lot of good reasons for doing something pre-recorded and not doing it live, because live is great in certain instances, especially if you want to get that interaction while you're on air, as it were, and you can let people know in advance you're going to be live and they can join you and ask questions and all of that. That is great. But other than that, there's not really a good reason for going live unless you just want to do something that's instant.
Mm.
And some people prefer the live. But if you're someone who is worried about doing that, go for a pre-recorded video. And then the bonus with that is you can pre-record it. I wouldn't suggest you do it 10 million times. It doesn't have to be perfect, but pre-record your video, and then you've got the option as well of adding on your logo, of adding on captions, of adding on subtitles, all the ways you can add in extra information. So it doesn't have to be alive. So I would say to anyone watching this, don't be put off because you think you have to go live, because you really, really don't. And I would suggest if someone is nervous about that, don't start off with a live. For some people it works. It just jump in at the deep end and get on with it. But I would really say if you are particularly nervous, don't start with a live, start with a pre-record. And the other thing, I hate when I see people on a platform, say like LinkedIn or Facebook or whatever, and they're doing a piece to camera and they're saying, oh, hi, my name is X and I'm doing this because I'm doing a challenge and I was told I should do a live video in this platform, da-di-da-di-da. And it's like, no, don't do that. I mean, it's great that they've taken that step, but have a good reason,
Mm.
not for you, for your customers and clients. What do they want to hear? They don't really want to hear you say, oh, I'm doing a challenge, so here I am. You need to have a good reason for doing a video and keep it simple, keep it straightforward, and also try and have a call to action with every
Mm.
video. Even if it's just to increase your brand awareness, and you can say to people, oh, if you want to find out more, check out my website, something like that. But have a call to action, have a good reason for doing the video, and keep your message simple and straightforward. So those are the main things that I see that crop up a lot and that can be easily fixed, basically.
Yeah, and I guess one of the biggest steps is just doing video at all. Like talking about the second point, I hadn't even considered live, but it did take me a long time after deciding I was going to do a video and what I was going to do to actually get it, because I was being far too perfectionist. I had to slap myself on the wrist. No, you know what? Just do it.
Yep.
Be perfect and get it out there.
Absolutely. A lot of people get put off because they think it has to be perfect. But there's that saying about done is better than perfect. And it's
Yeah.
true. And the more you do, the easier it becomes and the better you get as well.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you. And on the other side, are there certain things that people should be, there's certain best practice things that people should think about? Obviously, there's the opposite, the looking at the camera and so on. There are the things that we need to think about if we're going to decide to take that step and start to do video.
Sorry, what was it?
Sorry, for those of us who are just starting out thinking about what doing video, are there certain best practice steps that we should start to think about before we make that leap?
Yeah, I mean, think about why you want to do a video. What is the purpose? Don't do video just for the sake of doing video. Make sure you've got a clear reason, and trying to keep it to one message per video, because I think a lot of people think, oh, I'll do a video, and then they try and cram everything they want to say into that one video, and then the message just gets messy. So keep it to one clear video. Make sure you know that your equipment is up to scratch. I mean, to be honest, I use my phone for a lot of videos now. I'll get my big camera kit out if I'm doing something that I want to look a bit more glossy, for my website or whatever. But for social media posts, I use my phone. And you need to know how to frame your shots. You need to know how to make it look good with enough light. Don't be standing there with a window right behind you, because you'll just end up a silhouette. So think about your lighting, your framing. Is your sound good enough? Don't have a lot of background noise going on, things like that. So those are kind of the basic things that I think people need to look at.
And do people need to think about maybe the getting equipment specifically for video, or do you think for in the majority of cases use what you've got?
I would say use what you've got, especially to start with. Use what you've got, and then as you go along, and the more you do, you'll start to think about other things that you might want to add in, like a light or an external microphone, perhaps. Definitely a tripod, that would be one of my first suggestions, a tripod or a stand of some point. And there's so many out there that you can get that take mobile phones as well. And I'm giving away at the moment for free my video production checklist and kit list. So in the kit list, I've listed everything that I use, apart from my big camera, because I wouldn't expect anyone to go out and buy that. But I list all the equipment. So it's easy to see from that things that you think, oh, well, I don't need that now, but I might need that further down the line. Or you might look at something and go, no, I definitely don't need a green screen, for example. So I'm offering that for free just now, just to help people, because I think kit is something that puts a lot of people off, because they think, oh, I haven't got all the equipment, I don't know what I need, it's going to be too expensive. If you've got a phone with a decent camera, that is all you need. You can do it. And sunlight is a marvelous source of free light. And once you start doing more, you'll probably want to buy a video light of some sort, because although sunlight is excellent and it's free, it does vary a lot, especially if you've got clouds passing, so you're in the shade, you're out the shade, you're in the shade. But to start off with, just go for a mobile phone. And on my kit list, I mentioned a selfie stick that I use, and I would not buy a selfie stick for years and years and years on a matter of principle. I just thought, no, I cannot. I can't buy a selfie stick. And then I actually saw one that caught my eye. It's a selfie stick, but it's also, you can use it as a desk stand tripod. And it's got a wee light on the top of it, which isn't powerful, but it can be just enough to give you that wee boost. So I did purchase that, and I've been very happy with it, and the details of that are on my kit list. I would say if you were going to buy anything, that would be something like that would be the first thing. But if you've got a decent camera on your phone, that is enough to be going on with, I would say, to get anyone started.
Okay, brilliant. I will get those links on my website where I'm hosting this, and on YouTube, and you'll see it on social media as well. That sounds really useful, really useful. Yeah, we were thinking about why you do video, why you want to do video. And there's certain reasons that you come across quite a lot that people should start to think about using video as a format as opposed to a blog, whatever else it is they have been doing, the reasons that they maybe think about doing something like that.
I mean, there are loads and loads and loads of statistics out there that illustrate why you should be doing video. Unfortunately, I don't store them in my head. when I do teaches I have a free Facebook group, and I do a live teach in that every week, and I will often have figures to hand and what have you, but I'm not a figures person, so I can't give you that. But there's enough evidence to show that you should be using video, because most people are consuming video on social media platforms. And also, if you use video, the figures, I can't remember now, it's something like, and don't quote me on this because I'm just rounding it up roughly, something like when people watch a video, they retain something like 85% of the video's message.
Wow.
Whereas if they read some text, it's something like 15%. Those aren't the figures, but it's that kind of difference.
Wow. Yeah.
So that just shows you how much impact a video can have, and people like watching videos. And also it's been shown in studies that if you have, say, a page on a website and you offer people a video to watch or text to read, the majority of them will watch the video rather than read through the text. So it's appealing to more people are using video, more people remember your message through video. So it's definitely the way to go. I mean, I love reading and writing as well, don't get me wrong, but for social media, if you want, and you can use it in so many different ways as well. I mean, you can use it to just increase your brand awareness by putting out, you know, snippets of information or things about your company. So use it to increase brand awareness, and through that you reach more customers and clients. And also you can communicate better if you've got a Facebook group. If you do videos, I mean, you can do it as, again, do it live or do it pre-recorded. If you can put videos out there, I mean, you don't even need to be in your video. You can do a video just with captions and music, for example,
Yeah.
and that will still get your message across, which is kind of at odds with saying people don't want to read. But if it's in a video, that's different to reading a long list of text. So you can even start off by not even being in your videos at all. And there's so many ways that you can do it. You can have, for example, if you put a video on your website, it's been shown that people are likely to stay twice as long on a website that has a video as they will on a website that doesn't have a video. You can have welcome videos on your Facebook page, your Facebook group, your website, your YouTube channel, you know, you name it, you can have a welcome video there. You can have a frequently asked questions page on your website where you do videos to, if you get asked the same question over and over again, do a wee video about it, put it on your website, and then the next time you get asked about that, you can say to people, oh, if you go to my website, I've got a video on that, and that gets them to your website, because at the end of the day, that's where most businesses want people to end up, is on their website, to look at what they've got. So there's all sorts of ways you can use video, and even using video for one-to-one calls with your clients, for networking, you know, there's all sorts of ways, as I said, to use video. The list is kind of endless, really. I could go on and on and on, but I won't. But you can tell I like video.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
I think it's important to have different forms of communication out there as well, because if you've got the same, if people consume the same message multiple times in different ways, again, they're probably even more likely to remember again.
Yeah.
So that's interesting to hear.
Yeah, I mean, I would never say only use video and nothing else. But obviously my passion is video, so I will say to everyone, use video. You know, and I know that anyone and everyone can be a video star, because I've worked with so many people on video diaries and other programs like that, where it's members of the public, even children, were able to, with a bit of direction, present on camera. So I know anyone can do it. I haven't met anyone yet who couldn't do it. Sometimes you just need a wee bit direction or a wee bit help with certain things, but at the end of the day, if you care about your business, why would you not want to tell people about it?
Yeah, absolutely. And have you got any tips when it comes to, one of the things that I always put out, because sometimes, especially if your target audience is sitting in an office, they might not be allowed to have the headphones on. They might. Do you have any tips about putting subtitles together?
Yeah, I mean, I tend to do mine manually because I think it looks nicer. But you can use, there are apps like rev.com that will do subtitles for you. There's quite a few, and they're not terribly expensive. Or you can put your video onto YouTube, and that will, you can add titles automatically. That won't cost you anything, and you can go in and edit them. So yes, and so not just when people are in an office, when they're, well, I was going to say when they're commuting. I don't know how many people are commuting at the moment as this goes out because of lockdown. That will change again. So at some point, when people are sitting on a bus or a train or whatever, they've not got the volume up, they've got their earphones in. So if you can have captions on, people are more likely to stop and read the captions. Whereas if you don't have that, if you don't have subtitles, they're likely just to scroll past. So yes, I would definitely, there are quite a few companies and apps out there that do it, and it doesn't have to cost the earth. So I would definitely spend the time adding subtitles if you can.
Yeah, even if it's literally using YouTube to do it for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even if it's not perfect, it's still going to be better than not having any.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's one of the things I always think is it can be a bit time consuming, especially when you're editing. It hasn't quite got it right.
Yeah.
But I think it's also really important to edit it because it can get it horribly wrong.
Yes, definitely. I mean, I've seen some real ones that you just look at and you think, what? Then you think, how did that? How was that allowed to be put out? You know, so you definitely check it. Don't need to fix little things that are, you know, you can gloss over, but look out for major things, especially names. A lot of automatic subtitling will get names wrong, and that is one thing you do not want to do, especially if you're interviewing someone or talking about someone. Make sure you get their name correct and you spell it correctly as well. Otherwise, you might have some very unhappy contributors.
Yes, yeah. That's and it does come up with some interesting ones when it comes to a name. That is interesting. What some of the things it mishears is probably the wrong word.
Yeah.
Misinterprets.
Yeah, and especially if someone's got a quite a strong regional accent, a lot of subtitling apps will really struggle to pick up what they're saying. As I said, I do mine manually, but it is very time consuming, but I just like mine to look a certain way. But it does take a long time. So I would go down the automatic route if you can.
Yeah, I actually use something called Otter AI, which I find
Yes.
better
Yeah.
than YouTube as the getting things right. However, I won't say who, but one of these interviews I've done, I'm editing at the moment. It's taking me forever because he has a very thick regional accent.
Oh,
He's
yes.
really struggling. It's getting it so wrong. So that's an, and it's some of the interpretations the artificial intelligence has made has been hilarious, frankly. So,
Yes. Sometimes in that situation, you are just as quick doing it yourself because the time you read it and change it and what have you. But then, see, I'm used to doing it. And in the olden days, you had to do it automatic, you had to do it manually, you didn't have any option. So I can be quite quick doing it. But even me being quick, it still takes a long time.
yeah, especially if we're talking like 30 to 40 minutes interviews, I guess.
Yes.
So yeah, so I think I've covered most of my questions that I had. I was going to ask you if you have anything to plug, but you've already mentioned your. Is there anything else other than what you've mentioned already?
Well, I've got the video production checklist and kit list, which we talked about the kit list side of it, but also the production checklist. I've decided to share that because a lot of people get put off doing videos because they don't know what's involved or they don't know where to start. So I thought, right, this will help, and it's the one that I use. And not all of it will apply to everyone or to every video, but it gives a good outline of what's involved. So that all comes together and that's free. I also have a free Facebook group called Be Seen, Be Heard, Be Known, and I do a live teaching that every Tuesday, and there's the opportunity to come on and we have a Friday feature once a month where someone in the group can come in and either do a live video, a pre-record video, or even upload a document just to share about who they are and what they do. So far, I think everyone's done it live, apart from one person who is very used to doing lives, but she was very busy at that time, so she pre-recorded. So that's a good opportunity if you want to have a wee practice. And also on my website, I've got different coaching packages for different budgets to help people, because often people will be quite confident in one area, but perhaps not another area of video making. So I've tried to have a good spread. And likewise, as I said, with budgets, I know not everyone can go for the big package, so I've tried to put wee packages together for people as well. So that's all on my website, and I'll give you the link for that, Samantha, so you can add that in. So yes, so come and find me if you need help with video, because I love helping people. It's what I do. And I know that everyone can be an awesome video star, and that's what I aim to help with.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Julie. That is really useful information in there. And as I said, I'm putting the links below. Check them out. And yeah, thank you very much for watching, everyone. And yeah, check out my other interviews with other experts in specific fields of marketing. Thank you.